I want you to picture a girl. Her name is Junko. She's 17. It's late November, 1988. The sun has already gone down in Misato, a quiet city in Japan. It's the kind of place where nothing bad is supposed to happen. Junko is riding her bicycle home from her part-time job at a plastics factory. She's happy. She's saving up money for a graduation trip. She has a boyfriend she just knitted a sweater for. She's thinking about getting home to watch the finale of a TV show she loves called Dragonfly. She is completely normal. She is safe. This isn't a story about a master criminal or a serial killer who stalked her for months. It's a story about bad luck. It's about walking into a spiderweb that was spun by 4 bored, cruel teenagers who decided that on this specific night, they were going to ruin someone. 4 boys were hanging around that night. Dropouts, low-level thugs, what the Japanese call chinpira. They were looking for a victim. Any victim. One of them, a boy named Misato, sees Junko riding her bike. He runs up and kicks her. She crashes to the pavement. It's chaotic, it's fast. Then another boy steps out of the shadows, Hiroshi Miyano. He plays the hero. He helps her up. He says, "Let me walk you home. It's dangerous out here." Junko is shaken. She trusts him. She goes with him. And that is the moment the trap snaps shut. He leads her to a warehouse, and suddenly, the nice guy act drops. He tells her he's Yakuza. He tells her that he knows where she lives, where her parents live. He tells her that if she screams, if she runs, his friends will slaughter her family. That threat, that was the chain around her neck. She wasn't physically tied up yet, but she was paralyzed. She went with them because she thought she was saving her family. This is the part of the story that keeps me up at night. They didn't take her to a basement or a cave in the woods. They took her to a house in the middle of Tokyo, a regular 2-story family home where that boy, Misato, lived with his parents and his brother. They dragged her upstairs to the 2nd floor. Now, you have to understand the layout. Japanese houses aren't soundproof. The walls are thin. Downstairs, Minato's parents are watching TV. They're cooking. They're living their lives. Upstairs, Junko is being put through hell. The parents knew. They saw her. They heard things. But they were scared of their own son. He was violent. He was out of control, so they just turned up the volume on the TV. They chose their own comfort over a girl's life. To make sure the police stopped looking, the boys forced Junko to call home. Imagine holding a phone, hearing your mother's voice, and having a knife pressed to your side. She had to say, "I'm fine, I ran away, don't look for me." She hung up the phone and she was completely alone. But you need to understand the scale of what happened over the next 44 days. It wasn't just the 4 boys. They invited friends. There's a rumor online that she was attacked by hundreds of men. That's an exaggeration, but the reality is just as sick. Court records show about 18 men participated directly, but nearly 100 people, friends, acquaintances, knew she was up there. They saw her. Some laughed. Some just looked away. Nobody called the police. Not one person. By December, the boys got bored of just using her sexually. They wanted to break her. They treated her body like a piece of meat. They burned her with cigarette lighters. They beat her with golf clubs and iron barbells. When she was thirsty, they gave her alcohol or forced her to drink her own urine. They made her eat cockroaches. She tried to escape once. Adachi made it to a phone, but they caught her before she could speak. As punishment, they set her feet on fire. By Christmas, Junko wasn't the girl in the photo anymore. Her face was swollen so badly you couldn't recognize her. Her body was rotting while she was still breathing. She couldn't walk. She couldn't control her bladder. It took her over an hour just to crawl downstairs to use the bathroom, and eventually, she couldn't even do that. She begged them to kill her. She just wanted it to be over. There's a story people tell, maybe because they want Junko to have had a moment of victory. They say she played mahjong against her captors and won, and they killed her because they were sore losers. That didn't happen. By January 4th, Junko couldn't hold a tile. She could barely move her hands. The truth is much more humiliating. The ringleader, Misato, was playing mahjong with his friends. He lost some money. He was humiliated. He was angry. And he looked at Junko, huddled in the corner, and decided she was the perfect punching bag for his frustration. For 2 hours, they went at her. They dropped iron weights on her stomach. They dripped hot candle wax on her eyes. They covered her in lighter fluid and set her on fire again. Her body just gave up. She went into shock, and on January 4th, 1989, alone in a room full of monsters, Junko Furuta died. They didn't care that she was dead. They only cared about getting caught. They wrapped her in blankets, shoved her into a 55-gallon oil drum, and filled it with wet concrete. They dumped it in a construction site in Koto, Tokyo. They thought that was it. They thought she was just garbage to be thrown away. They almost got away with it, too. The way the police found her, it wasn't because of some brilliant detective work. It wasn't a rescue mission. It was a mistake, a slip of the tongue. In late January 1989, weeks after Junko had already died, the ringleader, Misato, and his friend Ogura were arrested, but not for the murder. They were picked up for a completely different crime, the rape of another 19-year-old woman. While they were in the interrogation room, the police mentioned an unsolved murder case just to pressure them. Misato panicked. He wrongly believed that his friend in the other room had already cracked and confessed to killing Junko. So, thinking the jig was up, he told them where to look. He sent them to a desolate patch of reclaimed land in Koto, Tokyo, a place called Wakasu. On March 29, 1989, police found what they were looking for: a 55-gallon metal drum sitting alone in a vacant lot. It was filled to the brim with wet concrete that had hardened into a tomb. When they cracked it open, they found Junko's body wrapped in blankets. But they found something else inside that concrete, something that reveals the twisted superstition of her killers. Tucked in with her body was a VHS tape of the final episode of that TV show she loved, Dragonfly. Misato didn't put it there out of kindness. He put it there because he was terrified that if she died with regrets, her ghost would come back to haunt him. The autopsy told the story that Junko couldn't. It was a catalog of absolute cruelty. Her body was so badly damaged, so swollen and disfigured, that she could only be identified by her fingerprints. The medical examiners found extensive fractures throughout her body. Her ribs, her arms, her legs, all consistent with blunt force trauma from the barbells and golf clubs. There were severe burns from cigarettes and the hot wax they had dripped on her face. Her internal organs were damaged, and there were signs of severe starvation and dehydration. The official cause of death was listed as traumatic shock. Essentially, her body had simply reached the limit of pain it could endure and shut down. The boys, they were juveniles. In Japan, that means protection. They got sentences ranging from a few years to 20 years. They are all out of prison today. They're middle-aged men walking around freely. One of them even got arrested again recently for attempted murder. They didn't change. But Junko is still 17.